Hi everybody, my name is Melu Crochet. I am a crochet pattern designer and I'm so excited to be part of this crochet blanket summit. I'm going to speak to you today about the bobble stitch. It's one of my favourite stitches. I think it is my favourite stitch. I use it in pretty much all of my designs. I feel like it adds structure, it adds texture, it helps you know where you are in the pattern. Just really like it and want to pass that on to you. I'm going to tell you a bit about the bobble stitch and show you how to make it yourself, how to crochet it using one colour, and then a little bit more advanced how to add another colour in so that you can maybe create a different pattern, or you could even write words with it. I've done quite a few different things, so I want to just get you started on the basics. So first of all, I've got a tutorial. It's a photo tutorial. I've got it as a PDF download for you as well, so you don't need to make notes as you go along. I'll include a PDF for both the single colour bobble stitch, which is the simplest way of using the bobble stitch and is best for beginners, and then also the colour change bobble stitch, which is a bit more advanced, and I'll include a PDF for that one too. It's a bit trickier, but it'll allow you to create some wonderful patterns and detail within your blanket. This is the video tutorial for the single colour bobble stitch. You can follow along with your PDF photo tutorial and have a practice. I've used a 4.5mm hook and some DK or lightweight yarn, and I've crocheted a couple of lines of single crochet just to start off and give you a firm base for your bobble stitch practice. So this shows the stitch that you're going to be working into. You yarn over, insert the hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two. Now you've got two loops on your hook, yarn over, insert into the same stitch, pull through, yarn over, pull through two, three loops left on your hook, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two, there's four loops left on your hook, yarn over, insert the hook, pull through, yarn over, pull through two, you've got five loops on the hook, yarn over, insert the hook, pull through, yarn over, pull through two, you've got six loops on the hook. Now you're going to yarn over and pull through all of the six loops, and that is your bobble stitch. You need to secure it now, so we're going to do another SC in the next stitch along. Sometimes you will be using a different stitch to secure it, and you'll have to check your pattern for that, but when you're practicing it's a great idea to use a single crochet here. This is how it looks from the front. You can see that it pops out through the back of the work as you're working on it. So this is the wrong side. Looking at this again, we yarn over, insert into the indicated stitch, pull through, yarn over, pull through two loops left on your hook, yarn over, insert into the same stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two, three loops left on the hook, yarn over, insert into the same stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two, four loops left on your hook, yarn over, insert into the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two, five loops left on your hook, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, 6 loops left on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 6, and then you've got your bobble stitch, securing it with a single crochet at the end. Try not to let your tension get too tight when you're crocheting the bobble stitch, because it can get really tricky to pull through all of the loops at the end if you've made them too tight. This is how the bobble stitch looks from the front side. Turning it back to the wrong side. Just going to continue to single crochet the rest of this row. And then when I get back to the bobble stitches, I just want to show you how to work into the top of the bobble stitches so that you can recognize them in your own crochet and you don't get confused as to which stitch you're working into. So this next stitch coming up is a single crochet. It's at the side of the bobble, and once you've completed that one, you can see there will be a V at the top of your bobble stitch. So it's a larger V than with a single crochet, and you put your hook into the top of that V, and that is the top of your bobble stitch. So when you're told in your pattern to work into the top of a bobble stitch or to work into the bobble stitch, that is where you need to go. This next one is the single crochet that's next to it, and then the top of the next bobble stitch. Finding your V again, that one is the single crochet next to it, inserting it into that bobble stitch, and then finding the last stitch of the row, crocheting that one. And if we spread it out, you can see that there are 2 bobble stitches. You can give them a bit of a plump up, and that's how they'll look from the front side of your work. So bobble stitches are always done on the wrong side. So here I've got some blankets that I've made just using the single colour bobble stitch. So by that I mean that you're not changing colours through the row. So here is one of my blankets where I've used just one colour, so I've just used the grey and made some flowers out of the bobble stitch. And the other blankets I have changed colour, but this one's a good one to show you. So on the actual bobble stitch row, I'm using the same colour and not switching between, which is the other type that I'm going to show you with the other tutorial. So you can work in the round and you can work in rows. These are straight rows. I just think they're really versatile, and you don't have to complete the whole blanket using bobble stitches. I really like to use them to mark a pause in the stitch that you're doing. So for example here I bobble stitch, then I DC UK terms or SC US terms for 3, and then bobble stitch again. So by the time you get to the end of the row or round, you'll know whether you've got the right amount of bobble stitches. That'll give you the right amount of stitches for the whole row, and it's just easier to keep track of things. So for example with the pop star, again there's a bobble on each point and then regular bobbles between the points, and then you're just able to know by the rhythm of the pattern that by the time you get to the end stitch there should be a bobble going in there, and if there isn't, then you've counted wrong before you got to that point. Another good example for bobble blankets, in my opinion, is for baby blankets. So for example in my lollipop rainbow blanket there aren't any holes, which is an advantage when you've got little fingers and toes that could get caught in them. It's a way of adding a tactile element without the danger of having holes that the baby's toes or fingers can get caught in. Moving on, we're going to have a look at the Bobble Stitch guide for changing colour. You can follow along with the PDF and practice changing colour when you make your bobble stitch. So when you get to the point in your pattern where you're going to add a different coloured bobble stitch, you'll introduce your new colour by laying it alongside, and then yarn over with your new colour, insert it into the indicated stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, you've got 2 loops left on the hook, yarn over, insert into the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert into the hook, pull through, yarn over, 4 loops on the hook, insert, 5 loops on the hook, yarn over, insert, pull through, yarn over, 6 loops on the hook. You will have practiced this so far, so I'm just rushing through that step. Now you need to pull through all the loops on the hook, but first you need to change back to your original colour. So you lay the new colour down, yarn over with your original colour, and then pull through. You can tighten it just so that it's neat. I'm going to sew this one in, so we'll move it out of the way for a moment, and then we're going to crochet over the thread that we're not using. Just following the pattern. If you were following a pattern here and it was single crochet, then you can crochet over your thread that you're not using, and then you'll be able to pick it up again, so you don't have to join and then sew in the ends, which less sewing is always a good thing in my opinion. To crochet another bobble stitch when you're on the same row, you've already got your yarn here. We'll call this yarn A as the original colour and yarn B as the contrast colour. I'm holding this one down here, and then you're going to put this down and pick up your yarn colour A. You can hold it down there if you need to. Carefully pull out. If that's the last one you're going to do, you don't need to carry that yarn anymore. You're going to fasten it off by going into the next stitch. That's how it looks. You get this little extra bit here. Give that yarn a bit of a pull, and then it tidies up that little area there. Now I'm going to show you how to identify the top of the bobble stitch. And this is the stitch before the bobble stitch. And here it's quite nice when you've got a different colour, because it shows you where to put it. It's under the V of the different colour. You can go under this as normal, but you'll see your carried yarn. So a trick on how to hide that carried yarn is to insert your hook under the carried yarn and the V of this stitch, and then it hides your carried yarn. You don't need to do this, but it's just an option to tidy it up a bit. There you go. Just want to show you some photos of the blankets that I've made using the colour changing method. This is my Candy Dot Star blanket. I've shown it in progress so that you can see the bobble stitch round. So I'm using this nice green colour and then crocheting over that colour with the cream, and so then the bobbles are popping out a bit more. You can see this is my Smarties blanket, and the bobbles stand out much more than they do when you use the same colour for the whole row. The grey gives it a neutral background, and then the bobble is popping out from that. This one I've changed the background colour as I've gone, but it's still using the colour change. So you can get some nice effects, and I wanted to show you this one because it's got the colour changing yarn going through it. The bobbles are made using the same yarn, but because it's colour changing, they come out all different colours. It needs fewer ends and therefore less effort, which I'm all for. This one is my Rainbow Bubble Heart blanket pattern, and I've used the colours in sequence. So this one's got a red heart on orange background, and then I've used the orange for the hearts on this one, and I've tried to continue the rainbow through, not just on the hearts but on the background as well. And then you've got Foxy. This is my baby fox blanket. I used graph to design that one. That is an even more complex way of following a pattern, but you do get some really nice results. Here you can see my name blankets. I've got quite a few of these. I designed them on a grid. They look good when you're using a single colour, but they really pop out and stand out when you use a different colour. So I would say they're one of my favourite ways of using this method. Here are a few tips for when you are making your bobble stitch to make it easier for you. First of all, you need to prevent your hands getting sore. I find that when I crochet, I like to keep my hands quite relaxed, and I don't pull too tightly on the yarn so the tension is not too tight, and therefore it just flows nicely around the yarn, and when I pull a loop through it comes out without splitting the yarn. I'm just going to show you the difference. So now I'm pulling the yarn tightly and I've got a very tight tension. It's really difficult to pull the hook through the loops, and everything is straining my hands. It's making the yarn split. My hands are actually hurting quite a lot at this point. I'm really struggling to pull that through because everything's just so tight. If you do find yourself in this situation, have a stretch out, and then you can wiggle your hook upwards, and that will loosen everything off, and then you'll be able to hopefully yarn over and pull through a bit more easily. But to prevent this happening, I would advise you to try not to pull too tightly at the beginning. And you can see here the difference in size of the two bobbles and how much tighter it is. If you do find that you crochet quite tightly, you can increase your hook size. So here I'm on the same piece of work. I've gone up hook size to a 5.5 and it's flowing quite nicely. I have loosened off my tension again, but here is an option for you. You don't have to stick to the hook size in your pattern. You can go up a hook size, but just remember that your crocheted piece will increase in size by doing that. Another tip is to experiment with different hook types. I've added a diagram here of the parts of the hook so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. They all vary. There are different grips, there are different handles, shaft lengths, the heads can be different, and this can change the way that they feel in your hand and control how you're able to hold the hook while you are making the bobble stitch. For example, here I've got a hook that's got a very long shaft, which can be better when you're trying to put lots of stitches onto the shaft, like with a bobble stitch, but as you can see it keeps catching on my finger and my hand is at a really awkward angle. So an alternative is to have a hook that has got no grip like this one, and the yarn can travel along the shaft and you might find that easier. But it really is personal preference and up to you. So have an experiment and see how you get on. The next thing I want to show you is some different bobbles I've made using different size yarn and different size hook. This is a chunky yarn with a 6mm hook, and the bobbles come out a lot fatter, but it shows the colour change. Yarn shows off really well with these bobbles. And here I've used a very thin yarn with a 4.5mm hook. This is a cotton yarn I used to make a cardigan, and for the edging I've used a bobble stitch edging, so I've just used bobble stitch SC, bobble stitch SC, and it's very simple but creates a very lovely edging that you can use on your blankets too. So that's it. Thanks so much for joining me. I really hope you've enjoyed learning how to create the bobble stitch, and it's given you a better idea of how you can use it in your own crochet blankets. I'd really love to see any creations you do make. Please do tag me with hashtag Melu Crochet on your posts. Please take a look at the free pattern that I've included as part of the Blanket Summit. And thanks so much for joining me. I really hope you've enjoyed learning how to create the bobble stitch. Take a look at my website for my latest patterns. I've put any new patterns on there along with updates to my older patterns, and sometimes I will add a gallery of other people's makes that they've made using my pattern. I would really love to see how everyone else interprets the pattern, because when they use a different colour or a different yarn, it really makes a difference to the overall effect, and it just looks great, and I just love to see everyone's originality. I have opportunities for pattern testing. Whether you've done that before or not, you're welcome to apply and test the patterns for accuracy on sizes, the amount of yarn that's used, making sure the instructions are clear and correctly written, easy to follow, and to make sure I don't have any silly mistakes or typos. Also in my Melu Crochet guide section, I've got information from how to hold your hook, photo tutorials on all the different crochet stitches. I've got a UK to US stitch conversion chart, which is handy if you get a pattern you want to make and it's in a different terminology. And then I've also got some free patterns for you to try out. Thanks again for watching. Really hope to see you on Instagram and Facebook, and hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks. Bye.